Picture a country so slim you could drive across it before your podcast ends. Now imagine that same sliver of land swatting rockets out of the sky with lasers, running spies straight out of a Bond film, and pocketing billions in support from the world's superpowers. And just to bring it into 25, when Israel pounded Hamas rocket sites and even tangled directly with Iranian militias, while Washington and Brussels begged for restraint, the world saw the same tiny country still calling its own shots. Sounds unreal, right? Stick around, because in the next few minutes we'll uncover how Israel pulled off this David meets Goliath transformation. And wait till you hear Israel's daring hostage rescue tale. Israel's story opens in 1948, and it's more thriller than fairy tale. The day after declaring independence, 5 neighboring armies roll in, fully intent on wiping the newborn state off the map. Israel survives, just. From that moment, everyone understands a simple equation. If the country is going to stay on the map, every citizen has to be part of the insurance plan. That's why 18-year-olds still trade 6th form hoodies for army fatigues, and why defense spending has, ever since, sat right at the top of the national shopping list. Why do Western countries love Israel? Jump to the 1960s, right in the Cold War. The Soviets are shipping tanks and fighter jets to Egypt and Syria. Washington needs a trusted foothold in the Middle East. Then comes Israel's 6-day victory in 1967, and Uncle Sam realizes this tiny democracy can outfly Soviet hardware. Add the political clout of Jewish American voters and evangelical Christians who see biblical destiny in Israel's survival, and a powerful alliance between Israel and the US is born. Since then, the US has funneled roughly $170 billion in aid, fighter jets, and diplomatic cover, making Israel the best-equipped small army on Earth. The relationship between Europe and Israel clearly carries the weight of history. After the Holocaust, many countries felt a kind of guilt, which they tried to ease by supporting Israel. Europe's reasons are a cocktail of history and self-interest. After the Holocaust, many European capitals felt a moral responsibility to keep the Jewish state safe, and the Cold War lined them up with Washington anyway. Then there's business. Germany builds Israel's Dolphin-class submarines. Britain swaps terror intel. France co-developed early nuclear know-how. Canada follows its biggest trading partner, the US, and frankly, loves the agritech and cyber gear it gets in return. Values, guilt, and contracts. That trio keeps Western doors propped open for Israel. Here's Israel's not-so-secret sauce. When you can't field a massive army, you outthink the opposition. Enter Unit 8200. Imagine the NSA staffed by teenagers, fueled on hummus and Red Bull. These young codebreakers dream up tools like Iron Dome, the system that plucks incoming rockets out of the sky, and its cheaper, laser-powered sequel, Iron Beam. Once their army stint ends, many spin out to startups, invent something shiny, and sell it back to the military. It's a virtuous loop where national service, venture capital, and battlefield feedback keep leapfrogging one another. That tech obsession soon spilled into hardware. Cut off by France in 1967, Israel quadrupled its own weapons production in 3 years. Fast forward to today, and 3 homegrown firms, Rafael, IAE, and Elbit, sit on the list of the world's 100 biggest defense companies, selling battlefield-tested kit back to the West. But lasers alone don't make enemies nervous. That chill you just felt? That's the reputation of Mossad, the spy agency that recruits from Israel's elite commandos and cyber prodigies. Recruits disappear to a training campus, so secret insiders just call it the Institute. Over months, they master languages, surveillance, lockpicking, lie detector dodging, and a brand of close combat, Krav Maga, where the lesson is basically finish fights fast. Only a few thousand ever graduate, and once they do, they run tiny autonomous teams scattered across the globe. They don't ask permission, they ask, what's the objective? Let me pay off that teaser. June 1976. An Air France flight is hijacked to Uganda. Terrorists separate Jewish passengers and threaten to start killing them. Diplomacy drags. Mossad agents quietly scout the airport, then, and this is wild, have the Israeli army build a full-size replica of the terminal in the desert, so commandos can rehearse right down to door hinges. Just after midnight on 4 July, 4 Hercules transports skim the runway lights off. Commandos roll out in a black Mercedes, pretending to be Ugandan dictator Idi Amin's convoy, storm the building, and fly 102 hostages home. The whole thing is done in under an hour. This operation made it to the headlines around the world. Suddenly, every enemy planner has to ask, if we snatch an Israeli, will those guys materialize out of the dark? A quick recap of how Israel went from survival mode to global power, one crisis at a time. 1948. 5 Arab nations invade. Israel survives and proves it belongs. 1956. It joins the Suez Crisis and shows it can fight far beyond its borders. 1967. The Six-Day War. Israel triples its territory and earns America's attention. 1973. Yom Kippur. Israel is caught off guard but bounces back stronger, modernizing everything. 1981. Fighter jets destroy Saddam's nuclear reactor at Osirak. No warning, no mercy. 2006. Hezbollah rains rockets. Israel invents the Iron Dome. 2025. Hamas and Hezbollah attack Israeli airspace. Israel makes Iron Beam. This isn't just a timeline. It's the blueprint of a country built to never be caught off guard again. About those nukes. Israel never admits it owns any, yet satellite images and insider leaks point to perhaps 200 warheads tucked away in the desert. By saying nothing, Israel forces every enemy to plan for the worst-case scenario, an incredibly efficient form of deterrence that costs 0 press conferences. By the way, all this gear is shielded by what Israeli pilots jokingly call the Shadow Umbrella, a fleet of Arrow 3 anti-ballistic missiles now test-firing laser cousins under the Iron Beam program. Right now, Israeli engineers are field-testing laser turrets, swarming AI drones, and cyber defenses so advanced they make Hollywood hacking scenes look like dial-up internet. The mission hasn't changed since 1948. Never fall behind, never rely on size, and always keep enemies guessing. So, how did a country you can cross before lunch punch its way into the heavyweight league? Start with an existential threat, add a superpower ally, fold in a never-ending tech feedback loop, and season generously with spies who treat the word impossible as a dare. That's Israel's recipe. Simple to write, fierce to replicate. If you enjoyed that ride, give us a like, hit subscribe, and tell us in the comments which nation's secret sauce we should taste next. Because behind every flag there's a story, and Infogram Studio is just getting started.